It's not unusual to hear about conflict in Israel.
Who shot dead 2 people.
But in the past week, one typically peaceful group started rioting in Israel's streets. The Druze. That's right, not the Jews, but the Druze. So why is this Israeli minority turning to the streets with stones and Molotov cocktails in high-pressure clashes with Israeli police? The government plans to construct wind turbines in the Golan Heights. Wind turbines? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. Let's first take a step back. Who are the Druze? Numbering around 1 million people worldwide, the Druze are a distinct religious and ethnic group who broke off from Shia Islam over 1,000 years ago and blend elements of Islam, Hinduism, and classical Greek philosophy. So what exactly do the Druze believe? The truth is, I don't know. Not out of ignorance, but because Druze religious leaders carefully guard their people's specific beliefs. One thing we do know though, is that the Druze have a fierce loyalty to those with whom they form alliances. In Middle Eastern parlance, it's called the Blood Covenant, and it's a big deal. The Blood Covenant with Israel was officially established in 1956, when Druze leaders, eager to contribute to Israeli society, requested that Druze men be included in Israel's mandatory military draft. This has since translated into hundreds of thousands of Israeli Druze serving in the most elite units in the IDF, with many sacrificing their lives for their country. As the only non-Jewish minority drafted into the military, a higher percentage of Druze men serve in the IDF, and particularly in combat units, than even Jewish Israelis. I had the privilege to serve under the command of Druze officers during my military service, and they were just as motivated to fight and die for the state of Israel as their Jewish counterparts. But the incredible bond between the Druze and Jewish communities goes back even further, like back to biblical times. The Druze consider Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, Yitro in Hebrew, to be their main prophet and spiritual founder. Fast forward to Israel's War of Independence, and this partnership was reborn as the Druze community fought alongside their Jewish neighbors. Today, about 143,000 Druze live in Israel, making up a little less than 2% of the country's total population. They are known as the most integrated Israeli minority, and many are proud to hold positions of authority in both the Israeli government and military. The Druze reputation as fiercely loyal members of Israeli society is part of what makes these current protests such a big deal. So back to today. Why is Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif threatening that if the government doesn't cease working on the wind turbines, it will face a reaction that the country has hitherto not seen? Well, it's not the first time the Israeli Druze have expressed frustration with Israeli policy. In July 2018, Israel adopted the nation-state law, which defines Israel as the national home of the Jewish people. Okay, you might be thinking, Israel was founded as the home for the Jewish people. But whereas Israel's Declaration of Independence made sure to emphasize equality for all Israeli citizens, this new basic law simply didn't, and it degraded Arabic from its former official status to a language with special status. As you might imagine, lots of people were none too happy. For many of Israel's non-Jewish residents, the law felt like a slap in the face, particularly for the Israeli Druze. They are a people who have dedicated themselves fully to the Israeli cause, and now they feel that their identities are being downgraded to second-class status. Israeli Druze Lieutenant Colonel Samir El-Assad expressed the communal hurt. Israel is my country. I am proud to be an Israeli. But this law made me feel humiliated, and he wasn't alone. After the law was passed, tens of thousands of Druze and their allies took to the streets protesting the law. Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif emphasized, despite our utter loyalty, the state does not see us as equal. Just as we fight for the existence and security of the state, so we are determined to fight together for the character and right to live in it, in equality and dignity. Which brings us back to the current protests over wind turbines in the Golan Heights. Remember how the Druze community are fiercely loyal to those with whom they form alliances? Well, under Syrian dominion, the Druze of the Golan were once fiercely loyal to Syria. That is, until Israel captured the Golan Heights from Syria in 1967, and all of a sudden, the Druze of the Golan were cut off from Syria. Remember, it's not easy to break a blood covenant, so many of the Golan Druze kept their Syrian ties strong, declining to become Israeli citizens. Despite things starting to change with the next generation, who see value in becoming Israeli citizens, the tension of loyalties for Golani Druze still continues. So what's the big deal about these wind turbines? There's the immediate issue that the turbines are being built on Druze lands. With agriculture and tourism among the main sources of income, many are concerned that the wind turbines will threaten their way of life. The landscape of the Golan is beautiful, but how attractive will it be with the non-stop humming and flashes of light of giant turbines obstructing the skyline? Adding to the frustration is the feeling that the government has trapped the Israeli Druze in a construction crisis. Going back to the Kaminitz Law of 2017, which imposes penalties on construction without permits, the Druze view this as the Israeli government saying, hey, you know your ancestral land that you inherited legally? Well, you can't do whatever you want with it, because we're now designating it as agricultural land. As Salim Brik explains, young Druze men who come back to their villages after loyally serving in the IDF cannot build homes. For them, the Kaminitz Law is discriminatory and racist. There is no way out. Despite the Druze community growing tenfold since 1948, no new Druze villages have been established. As you can see, the current protests are not just about wind turbines. You've got a community that already feels devalued and discriminated against, that feels the government is turning the Druze into second-class citizens, not to mention the huge potential financial loss at stake. The community is already wary that the government will even listen. And then, of all the people Netanyahu could send to address the issue, he sends Itamar Ben-Gvir, the controversial Minister of National Security, whose past statements have landed him convictions of supporting a terrorist organization and inciting racism. It's a pressure cooker that was bound to explode. Yasser Radban warned, he is sending Ben-Gvir to declare war on the Druze community. We are ready for war. Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif made it crystal clear. We don't take instructions from anyone, not even from Ben-Gvir. Any attempt to undermine the Druze connection to the place will receive an immediate response from the community. A sort of intifada is about to develop among the Druze people in Israel because of planning laws, fines, and destruction orders. Rafiq Halbi warned, rage is building up and a difficult transition is on its way. The country just disparages us. As for now, Netanyahu has halted the turbine project. But just as a wound reveals something on your body that needs to be healed, I think these protests reveal a couple of issues that we should be focusing on. Number one, the Druze and the Jewish people have formed an incredible bond. The Israeli Druze commitment to the blood covenant has contributed an immense amount to Israeli society and especially security. But we cannot take Druze loyalty for granted. Back in the 1800s, long before the blood covenant existed, my ancestors lived in Sfat. In 1838, during a revolt against the ruler of Egypt, a mob of Druze rebels attacked Sfat's Jewish quarter, pillaging homes, desecrating synagogues, and leaving destruction in their midst. My point is, the blood covenant between the Druze and Jewish people didn't always exist, and we can't assume it always will. Number two, most Druze outside the Golan identify strongly with Israel and with their identity as Druze. Until recently, Israel has enjoyed the overwhelming support of the community. But because right now, so much of the community feels that the blood covenant is being taken for granted, if Israel isn't responsible about how it handles the situation of the wind turbines, the unrest could spread to the entire Druze community and risk the historical bond between the Druze and Israel. Number three, the frustration that the Druze community has been expressing about feeling like second-class citizens points to a core question about Israel's identity. How do we strike a balance between maintaining Israel as the Jewish national home and also as a state that honors and protects the rest of its minorities? Part of the challenge of a diverse society is balancing the needs and interests of multiple groups. And this is a time we need to recalibrate. We can see this as a challenge, a rebellion of a previously non-problematic group that needs to be struck down. But I think it'd be a lot more accurate and wiser to see this as an opportunity. A chance to make Israel a more inclusive, welcoming place for its minorities, and to express gratitude for a people who has done so much to form Israel into the country it is today.